How to give a BuddyPress group additional content creation, reading, or editing capabilities, optionally limiting those capabilities to apply only to content authored by fellow group members. To do this, you'll need the Press Permit Core plugin and also the PP BuddyPress Role Groups, PP Circles, and PP Collaborative Editing Pack extension plugins. These extensions are part of the Press Permit Pro package. In addition, the permissions configuration I demonstrate in this video uses the PP Custom Post Statuses extension. This sample library site hosts the content for a number of clubs, including the Young Inventors Club. Some of the club's pages have a private visibility, intended for viewing only by club members. The club leader also publishes events, some of which are intended only for club members. Once a young inventor is assigned to a project group, they should have the ability to submit notes, which are also viewable by fellow project members. Group members also need the ability to create reports, edit each other's reports, and set a report to a custom status of turned in, at which point the report will become unavailable for further editing. Group members also need the ability to upload files, see each other's files in the media library, and attach files to notes or reports. Now let's take a look at the BuddyPress groups defined for this club. In this video, I'm not going to demonstrate the storage of each permission setting step by step. If you're unclear on that process, you can watch some of the other videos. But let's take a look at the permissions defined for the Young Inventors group. This is the group that includes all club members. This first exception allows group members to read events which have been posted in the YI Internal Event category. To get a better picture of what's going on here, let's take a look at the edit screen for that category. You can see that this event category also has an exception set for the All role. Actually, that's not a WordPress role. It's just a user classification that includes everybody, including anonymous users. So this exception means that by default, nobody can read events that are posted to the YI Internal Event category. While we're here, I'd like to point out that some of my WordPress roles are not included in this meta box. That's because I've used Capability Manager Enhanced to mark the author, editor, and contributor roles as hidden. That means they're not available for selection as a user's primary WordPress role, and because of that they have no purpose in this meta box either. You can see that this event category also has a reading exception set for one BuddyPress group. That's the Young Inventors group that we were looking at earlier. Back to our Young Inventors Permission Groups page. This group's other exception allows the members to read the Young Inventors YI Resources page and its subpages. You can tell that the assignment is for the page and its subpages because of the dark blue bolding. Now let's take a look at the permission settings for a Young Inventors project group. Well, as you can imagine, this YI Note Author role enables the group members to publish their own YI notes. Normally, the author role enables a user to publish a post with a public or private visibility. In this case, I'm forcing all YI notes to a private visibility. Let me show you the PP setting that makes that happen. Under the Permissions menu, go to Settings, click the Editing tab. You can see that the default visibility for new YI notes is set to private. I could have also selected any custom privacy status. In addition, we're forcing the post status to private. This is not applied until the post is published. So the YI notes will be private, but I want project group members to be able to read each other's YI notes. I've assigned a supplemental role of YI Note Subscriber, which applies to the private post status. But normally this role assignment would allow them to read anybody's private YI notes. The solution is to make this group a visibility circle for the YI Note post type. Because of this visibility circle setting, group members will be blocked from reading any YI notes which were not authored by a fellow group member. This limitation applies regardless of where the reading capability originally came from. If one of these users is also a member of another project group, which has equivalent settings, they will also be able to read notes authored by those group members. Mr. Roberts, the Young Inventors leader, is also a project group member, but he will be exempted from this limitation because of this capability in his WordPress role. In the future, I may automate this by exempting BuddyPress group administrators from the circle limitations that are imposed on their group. For YI reports, this group has the report contributor role, which means the members will be able to submit reports but not publish them. I also have the YI report editor for the draft status, which means these users will be able to work together by editing other users' YI reports which currently have a post status of draft. The submitter role assignment means these group members will be allowed to set YI reports to a post status of turned in. This is a custom moderation status that imposes distinct capability requirements, and since these users do not have a corresponding contributor, author, or editor role for the turned in status, they will not be able to edit the YI report after it is turned in. You can see this custom status listed in the post statuses listing under the permissions menu. You can see that most of these statuses apply only to other post types, but that the turned in status is for YI reports. When a contributor has the ability to select from more than one moderation status, the moderation order determines which status is set when they click the Submit button. I don't want students to accidentally turn in their report, so I set the turned in status to an order lower than pending review. This way they'll have to select Turned in from the status drop-down. There's one permission that's missing here, and that's the ability to upload files and attach them to posts. Normally, an author role grants the capabilities to upload and edit your own posts, but does not enable the editing or even viewing of other users' posts in the WordPress backend. However, this site has some different default settings for the media library which we need to take a look at. These settings allow users with media library access to see other users' uploads listed in the library if they are either unattached or attached to a post which the logged user can edit. Since we only want these users to see the files uploaded by their own group, the group is set as an editorial circle for the media post type. Editing of other users' YI reports is also limited to reports authored by fellow group members. Since this editorial circle also applies to the YI report type, the report editor role for the draft status will only apply to reports which are authored by fellow group members. Well, that just about covers the permissions for this Young Inventors Club project group. There are a couple exceptions set down here also. These are to limit term selection when a group member creates or edits a YI note or report. There is a custom taxonomy called YI project that is associated with both of those post types. So this assigned term exception prevents the group members from selecting a YI project which they are not a part of. It's also a convenience, because if a user is a member of only one project group, then when they create a note or project, their YI project term will be automatically selected. Well, I just remembered that this BuddyPress group needs one more supplemental role. The club leader will be reading and grading these reports, so it would be nice for him to provide that feedback to the project group members who wrote the report without making it visible to anyone else. To support that, I've defined a custom privacy status of graded. So let's enable this group to read their graded report. Select a post type of YI report, a role of subscriber, and a status of graded. Add the role and save. But we don't want this group to be able to read other groups' graded reports. To prevent that, we can add the YI report post type to the visibility circle. Don't forget to click Update. Now it's all set. Because YI report is included in the visibility circle, the YI report subscriber role only applies to reports authored by fellow group members. Now, before I demonstrate these permissions in action, I'd like to show you what I have set up for the Young Inventors Leaders group. This is a custom-defined press permit group, YI Leadership. These group leaders have the supplemental role of club editor, which allows them to create or edit club pages. But the exception down here means that the editing can only be applied to the Young Inventors page or its subpages. Also, when they create a new club page, it has to be a sub-page of Young Inventors. Similarly, YI leaders are event authors, but they can only create events in the YI internal event category. The YI report editor role enables them to create reports, or more commonly, to edit reports submitted by club members and set their status. In general, custom post statuses impose additional capability requirements, so setting a report status to graded would require a separate YI report editor role assignment for the graded status. However, due to this site's press permit settings, the YI report editor role is sufficient to set the graded status. Let's take a look at why. Under Permissions and Settings, click on the Advanced tab. You can see that the supplemental editor role for standard statuses also grants capabilities for moderation statuses. Finally, this YI Leaders group has a term management role of YI Project Manager. This allows them to create and manage terms in the YI project taxonomy. Now let's see these permissions in action. Willis is a member of the Telemarketer Audio Avenger group. He hasn't created any content yet, but in the media library he can see files which have been uploaded by his fellow group members. He can also edit any YI report drafts which have been created by fellow group members. Once his project group has worked together to complete this report, one of them can submit it by selecting the Turned In status. Although group members do not see each other's YI notes in the back end, they can read them on the front end. Now Willis is ready to create his own YI note. He's been tasked with finding some audio clips to use in their invention. Notice that this YI note was forced to a private visibility at publishing, and it was also defaulted to the correct project term. Now let's log in as a member of a different project group. Anna is a member of the Fridge Frost Alarm group. She doesn't see any of the other group's files in the media library. She has already uploaded some notes and can see those along with her team members on the front end. Now I'm going to demonstrate the turning in of a YI report. Once it's all set, the Turned In status can be selected in the drop-down. As intended, the supplemental YI report submitter role enabled this group member to set the report status to Turned In, but does not enable them to edit it any further. Now we'll log in as a club leader and grade the report. The Turned In report is linked in the Right Now meta box. In an actual implementation, we would probably define some custom fields to facilitate the grading and commenting. For this example, I'll just insert that in the post content. Based on the group permissions that are set up, this leader can make the graded report visible to group members by selecting a visibility of graded and publishing. This visibility could be automated through press permit settings by forcing the YI report type to a default visibility of graded. Logging in again as a Telemarketer Audio Avenger group member, we can see that this group member is able to read the graded report on the front end of the site.